2.12. Outlining your episode. Writing a half-hour script is hard. Really hard. You need to do everything you can to make your life as easy as possible. Of course, that involves getting some decent coffee, collapsing your Facebook window, maybe even unplugging your internet altogether, or going somewhere where there is no Wi-Fi. You really need to put your back into this. Most writers tend to find the best way to get through the painful process is to have a really solid outline in front of them. And it's worth spending time on this, so that by the time you come to write the script, there's so much detail already there, it feels like joining the dots. I personally make sure that I don't start writing a script until I have an outline that runs to at least 2 or 3 pages, with a decent paragraph on what happens in each scene, and some key jokes. Overall, the document might be 1,500 to 2,500 words. If I have that document, I might be able to get the script done, 5,000, 6,000 words, in 4 or 5 days. That's working flat out from 10ish till 6, with maybe one late night if I'm in the zone, maybe with a swim or a walk after lunch each day. I don't think I'm exceptionally quick or ludicrously slow. All right, I'll do an outline, but how? The good news is that you've done most of the hard work. Hopefully you've worked out 3 plots for your show, a main plot, a subplot, and a runner. The main plot, especially in the pilot, should be all about the hero of the story, the key relationship, or embody the essence of the show in some way. The subplot is a proper story for some of the other characters, which could also involve the main character, and a running joke is a tiny little C-plot that might soak up the other characters. In Miranda, as the title suggests, the show is all about Miranda, and so she's in all 3 stories. The main story might be about Miranda and her mother, a subplot might be about Miranda and Gary and the on-off romance, and a C-plot might be something to do with Stevie and the shop. In another episode it might be flipped, so the main plot is about Miranda and Stevie competing over something, the B-plot might be about Miranda and her mother, possibly involving Tilly, and the C-plot might be about Miranda and Gary. In Bluestone 4-2, with a fairly large cast, Richard Hurst and I tried to give the main plot to Captain Nick Medhurst, which might involve a storyline with Mary and Bird, the B-plot might be Tower Block and the Colonel, and the C-plot Mac, Rocket and Simon. Another week it might be Nick and Simon leading the A-plot, with Mac, Rocket and Tower Block messing around in the B-plot, with Bird and the Colonel as the C-plot. Over the course of the series, we try and make sure it all balances out, although actors frequently think everyone else has more lines than them. Separate. It's normally simpler to think of these stories in isolation and work out the main beats. Don't worry about what happens in each scene yet. Write out the story in bullet form with a new line or bullet for each new beat or moment of the story, but add in as much detail as you can. You might really have some neat phrasing or a decent joke. Put it all down. If it's the main story, it might have somewhere between 8 and 12 beats. Do the same again with the B story, which should have fewer beats, maybe between 6 and 10. Again, keep going with the detail and anything relevant. Then do the same for the runner/C story, which may only have 3 or 4 beats. Check the stories over, especially the A story. Does it peak and trough? Does it escalate? Do we believe each step? Does each step move on in a way that is both believable and surprising? Does the hero have a way out that means that they could walk away from the quest without suffering any consequences? You want to close off any such escape route. Check over the mechanics of the story so no one needs to call the logic police. See chapter 2.9. But then there's the issue of being excited about the story. Do you like the whole storyline? Could it be better? Do bits of it bore you or seem predictable? If so, they'll be very hard to write in a satisfactory way. Fix them. Now. Don't assume you'll think of something better when you come to write it. You might, but if you don't, you'll have miserable days trying to think of something better when you should be getting on with the next scene. Take the time to fix the problems at this stage. Combine. When you're happy with the stories, and they're flowing nicely, you can start to work out your scenes. This should be fairly straightforward, as you've probably been subconsciously doing it all along, but you're working out which scene happens in which location or set. In some scenes you'll be pushing along 2 plots, in others just 1. Occasionally it'll be all 3. Quite often you might be kicking off all 3 in the first scene, although you may start a fire under one of the stories if you have a quick pre-title scene. The plots may not mesh together perfectly, so you may need an extra beat of a plot here or lose another there, but hopefully you'll be able to get the episode laid out as a scene-by-scene outline. It would be worth showing that to someone if you can, a producer if you're working with one, if not, a friend who gets what you're trying to do. Talk them through it. They'll have some thoughts or concerns about beats of the stories, moments they don't understand, set pieces that might not work, or character motivations that seem unclear. Even if they don't, you will as you explain the story. Again, I recommend fixing them, if you agree with the notes, before you write the episode, so that once you've got your revised outline, you can finally start writing. So, we're going to start writing the script now, right? Okay, sorry, one more thing. It'll take 2 minutes.